West side, it's Big Red Governor, hotter than an oven, sir. My 40 counts my gal, and yes, I'm loving her. Always shoving sluts.
Back at it, you already know. I said I was coming back with a part 2, so here it is, part 2. You know what I mean? How to represent yourself in court with $0. No attorney, doing it all yourself. Now in part 1, I gave you all the steps on how to acknowledge, find out that you have a case, you know what I mean? What do you label the case? What is your causes of action? We went over procedures, we went over rules, we went over some of the basics. And basically it was just to let you know that you can actually represent yourself in court, okay? Regardless of what people will try to tell you, they try to say, whoever represents themselves in court has a fool for a client. That's the company motto, man. Of course they're gonna say that to psych you out. That's really what this legal game is all about. Intimidation, mind games, psyching you out. In a book I read where they said, I think I said this on the first one, where litigation is a contact sport. It is like that. So, disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't went to law school, I haven't sat for the bar. All I have is a few settlements and court victories under my belt that I did by myself without the aid of any attorney. So I'm not giving you legal advice, I'm just letting you know that you can represent yourself in court. Pro se, pro per, whatever you want to call it, it means the same thing, representing yourself without counsel. I'm letting you know you could do it with no money. Because a lot of us don't have $50,000 to $100,000 to pay returns to these lawyers, man, for as long as the case may go on. Now again, this is how to represent yourself in civil court, okay? This is not criminal. We're gonna be covering that on another video down the line. But quick disclaimer, when we do go over criminal, I'll give you a little tip on the criminal. Don't represent yourself, okay? You can do it, but I guess if y'all are familiar with the man in Florida, I guess he killed his baby moms, whatever. I hope it wasn't the kids too, but I think it was just his baby mother. And he tried to represent himself and he ended up catching a life. He might have got the death penalty with his dumb ass. You don't want to give yourself a bad impression to the jury. You need someone to cross the bar for you to speak to the lawyer with experience, to the judge with experience. When you don't have any experience and you just going to the law library and jail at that, it's gonna be hard for you to prevail in that situation. Unless you like Tupac's mom or something. Now, Afeni Shakur did it. She beat over 300 federal counts. So it is possible, but that's for a later video. This is part 2, how to represent yourself in court, no lawyer, $0. We already talked about the fee waiver. We talked about the first steps. So now that you know you've been done wrong, you did some law library research, you figured out the right cause of action to state a claim, you figured that out. It was intentional infliction of emotional distress, it was discrimination, racial profiling, whatever it was, negligence, did somebody assault you, battery, whatever it was, you figured this part out. You got the website for what court you're gonna be going to. You figured all that out. Now, the next step you need to know how to do is the legal writing process. You need to write up a good complaint, a good pleading, a good filing. It all means the same thing. You're gonna wanna write up a convincing complaint. You're gonna wanna state your claim in there, and you're going to want to state your causes of action in there. The more clarity, the more descriptive, the better. The more information on there, the better your chances for your case not getting thrown out. Now, as I know I told you guys that I was gonna do this video much quicker, and I wish I could have got to y'all, but actually, I've been going through, I got some other cases that I'm working on. And actually, I'm suing my old HOA, which this will be the second time I sued them, by the way. And I'm actually 1-0 against them. I sued them once before and won, but that was small claims court. This is a bigger court. So earlier I was at mediation, and that day I knew it wasn't gonna go well. They arrogant, you know what I mean? They arrogant, pompous, you know, they not gonna show any mercy. They're not gonna admit they wrong. So we going to court, and their lawyer was there, you know what I mean? They had their lawyer against little old me. They got a strap up against me. He tried to threaten me, you know, basically saying, well, if you go to court, I'm gonna put in a motion to dismiss, and I'm gonna try to get it thrown out, and make you responsible for paying the lawyer fees. Okay, that's what you're supposed to do as a defense attorney. If a lawsuit is filed on your client, you're supposed to try to get it dismissed. But good luck with that. You know what I mean? I've seen that before, and I've beaten that. But this is why I brought that up, because your pleading and your complaint, the better it is, the more concise it is, the harder it will be for them to just get your case dismissed. It's a few different defenses they can use: failure to state a claim, wrong jurisdiction, all this stuff. So, and we'll do a video on that later as well. But to help you avoid that, you write a good pleading, okay? And you want your pleading to be typed up. You want it to look good. You want it to look something like this. We're gonna blot out this stuff because, I mean, I don't really care. This didn't really go through, but this was my first case against the HOA written up, but that was by attorney. This was one I've done myself. It failed, so excuse me, I have to reach over and get it. You know, and I'm gonna block some of this stuff out. You don't need all this information. But this is for my federal case. So if you notice on the other one, there was information at the top. Some local courts and state courts will require you to put the heading here with your information. This one is a federal case, so they want it at the end. Also with the certificate of service attached, stating that you served the other party as well as made your filing. So this is your next step. You want to write a great complaint. This actually isn't a complaint. This is like a response to something, but it's just an example. You're gonna want to write a good complaint. You're gonna want to write a concise complaint. I can't stress that enough. You want to state your claim, because that's how they'll get your case dismissed. You want to list the causes of action. Make sure that they coincide with the statutes and the criteria to be able to sue. Make sure that lines up. And all you gotta do is Google, go to the law library, go on Westlaw, go on the databases. It won't be hard for you to figure out how to make sure your case will stick. You don't want to go in there and get your case kicked out, and then they try to say you gotta pay the other party's legal fees, you know, and that can't happen. Knock on wood, it hasn't happened to me, but it can happen. So to avoid that, you want to make sure before you file your complaint that you have it well documented what your cause of action is, and that you write it down, and that you take your time with your pleading. Don't rush it. You know, you might have to write it a few times. Rough draft, revise, keep reading it over, make sure, watch for typos, watch for misspellings, grammatical errors. You're gonna wanna make sure you do all that before you turn it in. And as well, after that, when they come back, because they're gonna come back at you, they're either gonna deny, they're gonna have plausible deniabilities, they're gonna have things denying it, or they're just gonna try to get it thrown out. Either way, you're gonna wanna respond to that within 7 days. So when they put in either that they object to your complaint and they're denying it, you're gonna wanna respond to that quickly. You know what I'm saying? If they put in a motion to dismiss and try to say they want the case thrown out and they want you to pay all the lawyer fees, you're gonna wanna object. You're gonna wanna do your response in opposition to their motion. And it's pretty much, you're gonna say the same thing, but you're going to counter what they said in their document. You're gonna give your argument. That's the litigation process. That's early on litigation process. Because you want your case to go to the next level in the court. Because once it goes from y'all being joined to that and the case doesn't get dismissed, now you're going to case management. Now you're going to discovery. Now you guys are in litigation fully. So now anything can happen. You can get a settlement conference where you can end up getting a settlement, where that's happened to me. That they didn't want it, they gonna go, we don't want no smoke with you. How much you want? And that's ideally what you want. 90% of cases get settled. Most of them don't make it to trial because it's going to be long and drawn out. No one wants to go through that. And a lot of, even corporations don't want to spend the money on that because it's going to take, especially in federal court, to, handle that. Even state, local courts can get really expensive. So, bam, you want to make sure you get past that first initial stage of them trying to get your case dismissed. Okay? And the way you do that, I can't pound this home enough. If you're serious about representing yourself, you're gonna have to at least get a book on legal writing, and you're gonna have to have a great pleading, a great complaint. Now, the good thing about representing yourself and getting in this deep in these processes is that lawyers will respond to your stuff. So you'll get examples from actual lawyers on how to write your stuff once you get in the game. So I've learned a lot because I've had several motions to dismiss put against me after I made a complaint. So I saw how they write it. So now I just cut and paste, copy and paste. It's simple, and they hate that, but it's free game. I stepped in the arena, you showed me a couple of your moves, and okay, I'm gonna note that down. And that's how the game works. And that's what I've done. But also, this isn't for everybody. And by all means, if you don't have the heart for this, if you don't have the courage and the stamina and the patience to go through this, by all means, get an attorney. I'm not telling you that attorneys are bad. I'm just telling you that you don't actually need one. It can be done without an attorney. You can get the results that you desire. I showed you one of my settlement letters. I showed you one of my judgments in the last video in part 1. So it's possible. I have no law school experience. I just have experience in all types of court in my personal life, which could be a good or a bad thing. But I thought it was a bad thing. I turned it into a positive thing. So now this is how I represent myself. My past is my past. I did my things in the street. I did my things in rap music. And that has nothing to do with this once we're in this arena. That process of me going through some of those hardships shaped me for this. So again, if you're not cut out for this, by all means get a lawyer, but be prepared to pay a lot of money. So for the people that's still here and that want to try to do this on your own, you can't fear them. See, one of the things that lawyers will do and a tactic that they use is to try to intimidate you. So in the mediation I went to earlier, their lawyers try to say, I'm gonna try to get your case thrown out, and I'm gonna try to make you pay the lawyer fees if we, win, and if we win the matter, if we come out successful, if we win. Key word in that whole statement was if y'all win. That's a big if, brother. Yeah, that sounds good to your clients. That's the right thing to say. And of course, that's what you're supposed to do. But you think that's gonna scare me from filing on y'all? No, because I have a cause of action. I have a few causes of action. I have a claim that's stated. And I have more than one way of sticking it to you. So if you can get it dismissed for this, I'm gonna have you over here where you can't get it dismissed for that. And vice versa. See, it's all types of tricks, but you'll learn that as you navigate the process, as you get experience dealing with different attorneys, dealing with different judges, dealing with different courtrooms. You'll learn this stuff and it won't intimidate you. So the main thing is don't fear nothing. If God be for you, who can be against you? So fear none but the Lord. He gonna bring you through there. He bring you this far. Hey, you gotta stand on your own too. And you gotta be willing to do the work that it requires to not get knocked out of the box. Because it can't happen. It happens to lawyers. But it also happens that lawyers lose to pro se guys like me, and I make a name for myself, and I make money off of settlements, and I have lawyers talking about me, and I have a little bit of honor. They know about me in San Francisco. They know about me in federal court. You know, not to toot my own horn, but hey, you watching me for this purpose, how to represent yourself in court. So now that I gave you the tip on writing up a good complaint, pleading, filing, it's the same thing. I gave you that. Now, the next step will be your discovery. Discovery is the evidence that you have. Is it witnesses? Is it video recording, audio recording, documentation? And remember, documentation runs the nation. They say it's conversation, but it's documentation, proof. Like in training day, they said, it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. And that's true. You could have had, you know all the facts. You have more facts in your mind than anything, but you have no way to prove it. You're not gonna prevail in criminal or in civil. Because criminal is beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, civil is a preponderance of evidence. It's a little easier to navigate that because you just need an inkling of truth and of evidence confirming what you're claiming. Okay, so you're gonna wanna have your evidence. That's the next thing. You know how many times I've been in traffic court, small claims court, custody court, and people make all these claims and claims and claims, and you know what the judge does? They sit back and they say, do you have that email? Do you have those text messages? Do you have the bill? Do you have anything showing that you paid that or that they said that? And then people go, well, I don't have it in my phone, I got a new phone. They don't want to hear what you just say, they want the documentation. So once you learn that, you can kill them. I've had so much stuff in my cases, so much evidence, that when I know the judge is gonna ask, before they can even get it out their mouth, here you go, boom, here you go, hand it to the clerk, hand it to the bailiff, hand it to the, here, I got it right here. Oh yeah, right here. And that's what you want. You wanna be able to document, pinpoint what you're saying to match up with the actual documentation. You know what I mean? That's pretty much a big percentage of you being successful in your case is having the evidence. And now if you have an eyewitness, that's good, they'll swear on the stand, but that'll come later. But you, in the discovery, you might do a deposition where they'll depose those people and they'll record them under oath, saying what happened. You know what's even better than that, and what had me win a settlement against San Francisco City and County, was that I had an actual video recording of the incident that happened. And that's what got me into this. You know, I'm gonna do another video on that. I'm gonna put the video in there so you can see the evidence, because the case is over, it doesn't matter. But the guy lied on me, got me arrested, okay? Said I did all this X, Y, and Z to him, and I provoked it, when on the video shows differently. So when I finally got my case dismissed in criminal, I went back after them in civil for them lying on me, for them actually messing my record up because I had to take a deal. But I got 3 felonies dismissed, and I took like an infraction, like a misdemeanor, which is unheard of. I went from facing 10, 11 years in prison to a $400 fine. And we'll get into that in a criminal video, but just giving you a preface of how I got into doing all this stuff is because that incident happened to me and almost ruined my life. I'll still be in prison right now if I didn't have that video on my phone, if I didn't have the wherewithal to record that guy when he was doing something extraordinary, which is an intentional infliction of tort. So that's a cause of action right there. But this video is getting long. I don't want my videos to be too long, but I do want to give information in on them. So, piggybacking off what I told y'all about criminal, we're gonna get into criminal because I know a lot of y'all probably got in trouble or, you know, in trouble with the law. That's how hey, no shame in my game. I got in a lot of trouble with the law. Don't feel bad. And, you know, I was that guy reading the penal code book in the pod. And I was that guy that people came up to and asked me about that case, showed me their paperwork. So I guess it was kind of meant for me to get into this. But how I was able to do that, I didn't do it on my own. I needed a public defender to speak to the judge for me, but I told my public defender everything to do. I studied, I did my research, I went to the law library, but I didn't do it myself. I didn't tell them to fire just because my first public defender I was ready to fire. But there is a guy, so she ended up actually being pregnant and she had to go on maternity leave. And I ended up getting another public defender because she was just bullheaded. She wasn't trying to listen to me. She was, "Eddie, you're not a lawyer." I know I'm not a lawyer. And I was gonna be petty, and after I won my settlement, I was gonna call her, because I think she's still a public defender down there. I was gonna call her number and say, "Remember when you told me that I wasn't a lawyer?" Well, I didn't need to be a lawyer, and I still got money and won the settlement, boom, in front of the city for that same case that we fought. But, you know, once you get into this, you try to learn how to move with class and, you know, be a gentleman, be professional, and then that could come back on me if I do get into this career down the line. So I didn't do it. I didn't call her. I almost called the other public defender and asked her out to dinner, but I didn't do that either. And tell her, "Hey, let's go celebrate. I want to celebrate. It's on me. Let's have dinner." But nah, I didn't do that either. But that's just showing you, okay? Criminal, you're gonna want someone to speak for you. Now, it's possible, a couple of feelings Shakur, but chances are, I'm gonna go with the probabilities. But for this video, it was a civil court. It's not criminal, so you're going for compensatory damages. You're going for money. You know what I mean? You're going for something that pains you, some suffering, some injury you want redeemed. And it's not gonna be in jail time, okay? Now, the next videos, we'll get into that. But that's gonna do it for this one. I'm gonna recap. You wanted the next tips when you represent yourself in court with no attorney and you did your fee waiver, so you're spending no money. Only thing you probably spend on is mailing stuff. If you can't e-file, then you might have to pay a fee to the e-file company, but it's gonna be small, some anybody can pay for. The average Joe could pay that. So it's writing a good complaint, concise, pleading, stating a claim with your causes of action in there, detailing what happened, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened, who it happened to, and who did it to you. And you wanna make sure that it's well written. We go over it many times before you turn it in to make sure it sounds just right. That's what I do. And then you're gonna have your evidence together. Then the next step, you just wait on the court, and then you make sure that you follow your deadlines. We went over this in part 1. Once you do that, you'll be ready to get a settlement. You'll be ready to get an award in the court. If you go to jury trial, that's an award. You're gonna get the whole bag, but that's for a later video because that gets more deep. And hey, the deeper you get into it, the more you need to know. The harder it is to be pro se. All right, but hey, that's enough for today. Look, you can represent yourself. You can do all things through God who strengthens you. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. And even representing yourself is one of them. Of course, they're gonna tell you, you need a lawyer, but lawyers gonna grease your pockets and you still might not get the outcome that you desire. So if you're gonna win, lose, or draw, why not take it all on yourself? Because in the victory, you'll take all the money. You won't have to pay the lawyer nothing. In the defeat, hey, worst case scenario, you may have to pay some lawyer fees. But if you do what I'm telling you and write this stuff up good enough and you actually have a claim, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna have to do that. You just won't win your case. And draw, it really ain't no draw. It's just a stalemate and nothing happens. So if you lose with the lawyer, all that money's gone. They still get paid from their retainers and you have nothing to show for it. So DIY is always the best way if you can. So why not try it and learn it? And if you've been done wrong, you know, we went over statute of limitations. Don't wait long. Once it happens to you, start writing up, start researching. You want to turn it in within some months, because some statute of limitations is 6 months, some is a year. So you gotta do the research on that. You know, I can go on and on all day because I got a lot of experience with this stuff now, and I feel, you know, privileged to be able to know all this stuff and be able to share with you guys and create a lane for myself to give you guys advice that somebody that looks like y'all, you know what I mean, and give you the actual factuals, like they said back in the day on Martin. This would give you the actual factuals of how you can really run it up, because this is a capitalistic society. Suing people, like I like to say, is the American way. You know, you can't go beat up everybody or go shoot up everything. This is how you shoot them up. This is how you do it. Paperwork. This is your bullets right here. And it hurts way more when it hits their pockets, trust me. So again, I'm signing out. This is part 2. This is the final part on how to represent yourself. We're gonna do some other videos. We're gonna get into criminal. We're gonna break down YFN Lucci, YSL. We're gonna break down some other famous people that are getting in trouble. You know what I mean? I might do the guy from that used to play for the Seattle Seahawks. I might do that one. Earl Thomas, E.T., might break that down. Maybe, you know, I don't really want to do celebrity stuff, but if it pertains to legal stuff and what you could do to prevent it or what you should do next, if I can help y'all, if you got a case, you know what I mean, don't be scared to leave in the comments, you know, hey, do a video about this happened to me, or my baby mama put me on this, how do I navigate child support, because I've been through it. Like I told you in part 1, I've been through child support, family court, criminal, civil, probate, tax, whatever you could think of, I've pretty much been through it. So even intellectual property, we're doing music, even signing contracts, distribution, publishing. So don't be, you know, reach out, like, comment, subscribe. I mean, I know a lot of y'all is kind of like, damn, I thought I'd do rap, now you doing this. Hey, it's Brother with Gov. It's a big plethora of stuff. And, you know, it's what it is. So don't be shy, man. Hit the like button, it don't cost nothing. Just like representing yourself with a fee waiver, it don't cost you nothing. So we signing out, man. Much love to all y'all. Remember, you can do all things you set your mind to. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. And yeah, let's get it back. If people did you wrong, make them settle to make it right. We out.
West side, it's Big Bread Governor, hotter than the other summer. 40 counts my gal, and yes, I'm loving her. Always shoving sluts.